In the midst of uncertain times, it's hard and seems impossible to free yourself from destructive thoughts and that annoying voice inside your head. But you can focus on what you can control. As Tony Robbins says, if you focus on what you can't control, you are going to feel overwhelmed, you are going to feel fearful, you are going to feel frustrated, you are going to feel stressed. You've got to focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. I couldn't agree more with this advice, especially during these uncertain times we are living now. In this video, which I am recording as of March 2020, right in the outbreak of COVID-19 in Canada and worldwide, I'm not going to preach or teach you how to fight this virus or keep sanity while exercising self-isolation or social distancing, and I'm not actually uniquely positioned to do so. However, instead, I'd like to share with you my thoughts about the book I read during these very days that helped me a lot to cope with anxiety and overwhelm that we as individuals are now going through as a result of the situation. Stay tuned. Hi, Arthur Khoyetsyan here with another video where I'd like to talk about the book and share some thoughts and inspiration I got from it. That's the book. It's called The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself by Michael Singer. Besides the fact that this book is #1 New York Times bestseller, sold more than 1 million copies and translated into 32 languages, this is the ultimate blueprint to silence your negative thoughts and opening the door to a life of self-realization, peace, and happiness. It sounds a bit weird and off the topic right now, talking about these notions where there is so much uncertainty and hopelessness. Again, keep in mind, I'm recording this video right in the middle of coronavirus outbreak, where a level of uncertainty and hopelessness around the world has reached its peak. Therefore, me talking about happiness and peace now may sound a bit off the topic for some of you. But for that very reason, I'd like to talk about these eternal notions that once you comprehend the core essence, that's what's going to help you weather the storm and come out stronger in the end. Hey, I know what you are thinking right now, but bear with me and I'll try to pass a core message I got from the book, which will hopefully urge you to grab a copy and read it yourself, which is not a bad idea. In case you are already interested, I will leave a link below where you can find the book on Amazon. Also, make sure you hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Okay, let me first tell you the pre-story of how I came across this book myself, and then I will share why it's become so special for me and why I bothered to talk about it specifically in this video. The first time I heard about this book, The Untethered Soul, was on the call of the Inner Circle by one of my mentors, and the topic for that day was cutting through fears and transcending yourself to take action and make this 2020 the best year ever. The call was back in February, right a month ago, where this virus hasn't spread yet globally and hasn't drastically changed our lives around the globe so much. And if I remember correctly, there was a question in the running chat of a live stream, which I always had a hard time to follow. But anyways, one of the listeners asked a question, and I won't reiterate the exact question word for word, but the main idea was that the person who was asking had lost himself completely due to inability to do anything as a result of disease he had to go through. And it caught my attention when my mentor picked that question and as an answer suggested the person to grab a copy of this book and just read it. And he said that will change everything for you. He said your perspective, your thinking, and your understanding of your own negative thoughts and why they keep bugging you all the time. Well, needless to say, I got a copy for myself, as you see, as well. The book arrived in the mail and was sitting on my desk here for maybe a month until recently. And staying home and all this situation made me grab and start reading it. It took me one full day to read this from cover to cover. And it begins by walking you through your relationship with your thoughts and emotions. So the premise here is that you are not your thoughts. You are aware of your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You feel your emotions. You are not your body. You look at it in the mirror and experience this world through its eyes and ears. You are the conscious being who is aware that you are aware of all these inner and outer things. In other words, your thoughts are an object and you are the subject who watches your thoughts and emotions. This realization only liberates you from associating yourself with your thoughts, especially the false, negative, and limiting ones. You are not who you think you are. You just happen to be watching them. But then the question is, who are you? You are the one who sees and you are aware of the events, thoughts, and emotions that pass in front of you. Another pivotal concept that the author is talking about is the infinite energy which is made available to us. The only thing we don't feel this energy all the time is because we block it. We block it by closing our hearts, minds, and pulling ourselves into restrictive space inside. While talking about what to focus and control, it's worth reminding ourselves that events and situations of our life naturally unfold the way we sometimes didn't expect. But who said that the way life naturally unfolds is not all right? The answer, fear says so. The part of us inside that's not okay with itself can't face natural unfolding of life because it's not under our control. As you grow spiritually, you realize that all your attempts to protect yourself from your problems actually create more problems. For example, if you attempt to arrange people, places, and things so they don't disturb you, it will begin to feel like life is against you. You feel that life is a struggle and that every day is heavy because you have to control and fight with everything. The alternative, according to the author, is not to fight with life. You realize and accept that life is not under your control. Life is continuously changing, and if you are trying to control it, you'll never be able to fully live it. Fear. What is fear? Humans experience fear all the time, and it's normal. You just need to understand the anatomy of fear to be able to handle it. Your psyche is communicating through its universal language, fear. Jealousy, insecurity, anxiety, they are all fear. Having fear is actually not a bad thing. Likewise, the pain is not bad. It's how the body talks to you. When you overeat, you get a stomachache. When you strain your arm muscles, it starts to hurt. The pain is body's universal language. Similarly, your psyche communicates with you through the fear. And the book teaches us that you can actually live a life completely free from fear. You just have to know how to do it. And the truth here is that everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. All you have to do is to stop expecting the mind to fix what's wrong inside of you. Your mind is not guilty party. The mind is simply a computer, a tool that can be used to ponder thoughts, solve scientific problems. You are the one who is trying to use this analytical mind to protect yourself from natural unfolding of life. For example, it doesn't matter what others do or think about you, unless you decide it matters to you. The other thing from the book I wanted to talk about is what Michael Singer frames as taking down the walls, referring to the comfort zone we are creating for ourselves. To understand this better, he brings an example of a trip to the zoo. Imagine you see a tiger in a small cage. This makes you think what it would be like to live the rest of your life in such tight confinement. The very thought of it is very frightening, isn't it? But in truth, the confines of your comfort zone create just such a cage. The inner cage doesn't limit your body, but does limit the expanse of your consciousness. This is a very thought-provoking idea, which made me reflect on our current situation, where we found ourselves locked in our homes due to this virus. We can't go outside, but we can go inside ourselves and hopefully get better understanding and reevaluating our lives. We're complaining that We are locked down and isolated now, and our life used to be completely different literally a week ago. However, we don't realize we have been living in constant mental lockdown so far, and we were afraid to go beyond our comfort zone because beyond it is the unknown. We feel uncomfortable and insecure when we approach our comfort zone limits, and that's why we go back. This is what we are exactly experiencing in our lives now, but on a physiological level. We now see the cage and its bars, which are represented by our homes, but we also keep creating a cage in our minds, though it's invisible. Yet, when we approach its boundaries, we feel scare and discomfort. Just food for thought to reevaluate how we live and how we are going to live when this is all going to be over. And this will be over. It's just a matter of time. And the last thing I'd like to highlight from the book is what the author refers to death as one of the best teachers. Sounds a bit paradox, doesn't it? No person or situation could ever teach you as much as death has to teach you. While someone could tell you that you are not your body, death shows you. While someone could remind you of the insignificance of things you cling to, death takes them all away in a second. While people can teach you that men and women of all the races are equal and there is no difference between the poor or the rich, death instantly makes us all the same. The interesting realization and analogy the author brings is that life belongs to death. Death is the one who comes in his own time to take life from you. Death is the landlord and you are just the tenant. This is not at all to glorify death over life. I think it's just a wake-up call for all of us to realize that death actually gives meaning to life. We need to understand the reason why we are so scared of death is because we crave life, because there is something we get from life and a lot you haven't experienced yet. That's why, especially during these uncertain times, when we are living with this every day, given the situation with COVID-19, we start to realize how much we missed out. I started to realize how much I missed out, how much I took everything for granted. Small things like taking a walk, having a coffee in a coffee shop, etc. So you got the point. And I don't want to leave you with this negative thought and contemplating death. Instead, on the contrary, I want you to treat each day, each moment as if this is your last day. Be willing to be fully present without being afraid of what will happen in the next moment. Be willing to say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done. Live it fully and boldly. Peace.